Welcome to our continuing series on coaching during COVID. I'm Rick Bender, and today I am chatting with Buddy Teevens, the Robert L. Blackman head football coach, for a few minutes about how the football program is approaching the new normal these days during the pandemic. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Rick, good being here. Nice to be someplace from this COVID era.
That's right. Well, first, let me address, with students on campus reduced, how many of your student athletes are actually on campus right now?
We have 61 of our guys, and it's primarily juniors and freshmen. So it's been a challenge positionally, numerically, but working through it. Staff's doing a great job. We've been out. We've had 6 practices to date and have a number more ahead.
Obviously, there are restrictions as to what you can do in those practices right now. Can you detail what a practice looks like these days?
Well, I think part of it, you got to be a mathematician and an engineer to try to figure out. We have pods. We cannot work with more than 10 people per group. So we've divided our guys, and then how they work, because we wanted our quarterbacks to be able to work with our tight ends, our running backs, and our wide receivers. So we had to separate pods. So we have 3 offensive pods comprised of quarterbacks in the positions I mentioned. And then defensively, we have 3 pods: secondary, linebackers, and defensive line. We can only have 50 total players on the field at the same time. So we've got to divide up. We're practicing over in the Blackman grass fields because the Memorial Stadium, the game field, is not large enough to accommodate with the restrictions. So then we have to have zones on the field where certain groups, Pod A can go, but Pod B can't, and Pod C has to wait until Pod A is done with. And so there's a lot of logistical training that goes in, and it's some of it's seat of your pants. The indoor facility has been phenomenal. We used it extensively yesterday. We had a big rainstorm, but there are limitations in there. So we had to stagger practice. We put our offense in for a segment of time, and then our defense. And again, just some of the nuances of working in the indoor facility with confined space and pods. But it's, some of it's an intellectual challenge. The fun thing is the players are just so excited just to be back doing something.
Well, working with your current team is only part of the equation for what makes up the work you do. So how has the pandemic affected recruiting?
Well, it totally changed and due to technology. So we're on Zooming. The nice thing is players nationwide are a little bit more available. You can call guys at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they're generally going to pick up, or 10 o'clock at night and have a conversation. We've done a lot of Zooming to the recruiting masses, if you will, and we've had upwards of 1,000 people tune in to our different presentations. Cody Keller, our recruiting coordinator, and Parker Thurston, our video guy, have been phenomenal with graphics, with videotape, with slow motion, with accelerated reads. So people can actually see what the campus is like. One of our greatest challenges has been that we don't have as many people come up to campus because it's a little bit harder to get here. So we've actually opened the eyes of people to what we're doing. Our coaching staff has done a nice job, and quite honestly, we have a lot to talk about. You know, the winningest team in the Ivies over the past 7 years, the safety factor, which is ever present and of great interest to parents, diversity of our program, the fact we've added progressive thinking, a couple of women to our staff that's resonated with a lot of moms. So there's a lot of different things that Dartmouth's been kind of on the cutting edge in the forefront, and that's been helpful to us in enlightening people and making them aware of what goes on up here in Hanover.
Well, rumors have flown about a possible spring season. What might that look like, and is it even likely to happen?
Yeah, my belief is it's a pipe dream. And just logistically looking at our place, and I think the equitability in the Ivies, I think there were 8 fall sports that were canceled. I don't think they would, the institutions and the league would bring back just football. So you're adding 8 more components, which require athletic trainers, equipment people, locker room space, field space, transportation, accommodations, scheduling. I just think it's an immense task to think that we could. So as I termed it, hey, if they say there's a season, Dartmouth will show up. With how many and what position, we'll figure that out. But the likelihood, and even it's all conjecture with the vaccinations and so forth. Where's COVID at this point? So what I've told all of our guys, and I feel it's the best way to go, think about yourself, think about your family. What's the thing that's best in your interests long term? If it's to come back, we would love to have you. If it's to move on and pursue a business degree and have a year of your business school paid for, I understand that. So it's, but a lot of the guys, they love playing for Dartmouth. They don't want to leave. They want to have their last season here in Hanover. It's just, there's so many unknowns.
Well, I imagine that right now it's pretty much using one of your favorite phrases, adjust and improvise at all times.
A&I is what it is. It just, we figure out as we go. And I think that's the best attitude to hold on to.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for your time today, and good luck navigating everything that you have to deal with the pandemic and practices and making sure your players are engaged.
Well, Rick, I appreciate it. And Ben, who's putting this all together. Awesome work, man. Appreciate it.